All right, as you heard, we've had a lot of new varieties, a lot of new things coming down the pipeline. The only frustration on my end is, you know how 900,000 acres looks like if you're trying to get them in 2 weeks into the buying point? What is that? Bottleneck. I'm starting to get into a bottleneck of too many varieties to mess with. And it's not that I'm messing with them, I'm saying that as a funny, but we got a bunch of them coming. And so we just need to kind of figure out how to work with them and make them work. Again, I mentioned the podcast again. If you hadn't listened to that, please do. It's something that we spend a lot of time on and really enjoy doing for you guys. What to expect for 2026? If you had to throw a dart right now, I think you got to be somewhere around 800, 850. And that's just guessing. But that's also thinking about what do we have out there that's going to bring those acres down or make them go back up. We just don't know yet. It's too early. We did have some issues with select varieties last year. Now, if you remember the year before that, we had weather issues. We had germ issues because of that. This year, I think we got better quality. We should be in better shape. That allow us to evaluate some of these varieties a little bit better. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that we're in a good place. Now we're going to have some missteps. That's going to happen. So kind of, make sure that we're getting the germ samples done the way we need to. Input prices are up, contract prices are down. We can't seem to get them to go the other way for some reason. But hopefully we can in a little while. But we got to manage your inputs. You heard Prosco, you heard Camerite. We just got to do that as good as we can. I know that's easier for me to stand up here and say that than it is for a grower to do it. So just know it just depends on the thing. I think Camerite said it right. Be flexible. Make sure you can move if the situation changes. That's the biggest comment that I can say there. Try to stay on good rotation. That's hard to do right this minute. Again, I want to stay out there and say that. Know your risk of each of the farms. We were talking earlier. We've got some farms that are every year peanut. Some that's got very high pressure for leaf spot right this minute. All right. One thing you might could do to help you out, plant those first. Plant those first and try to outrun the late season situation. That doesn't work always, but it might help. Be timely. Know your limitations of each one of these varieties. I hate to say it, my job, like Tubbs, our job is to get good genetics from the breeders, and we try to make them or break them. And I hate to say that, but that's what my job is. Find out where the Achilles heel is, or the problem, or if it's a great yielder in grade, how can I push it even more? So that's kind of my job. What can I plant in April, May, June? They are starting to separate out. Just what we've got with us right now because of the virus. Prepare for the worst when it comes to tomato spider wilt. We had the lowest amount we've had in 6 years last year. Do not get complacent with that. So that's something to think about. Protect this seed for 2027. We're talking about cutting back on everything. But if you're a seed grower, remember, I'm not doing things this year for the yield and grade only. I'm doing this for the guy next year, for your seed next year. And so we've got to do everything we can, provide what is needed, and try to do the best job you possibly can with everything. Again, easier for me to stand up here and say that, but hey, step out there and ask for help from us if you need it. That's the biggest thing. We are trying desperately to put together a list of benefits and concerns of every variety that we are looking at, okay? Some of these, the two things that really stand out right now that we want very badly is things that are better with tomato spider wilt. All of these tend to be a little bit better, except for a couple, than 06G, but they're still looped together. They're not far apart. But the one that's bolded up there on this side, the one up top, we already know that one. 12Y, we already know that's the best tomato spider wilt one we got commercially. This one, Arnie, come out last year, 2 years ago, didn't it, Barry? 2 years ago. We liked it the year previous. This year we had germ issues, but I had registered seed, and it did very well. The good news is, it is as good as 12Y for tomato spotted wilt. So I'm telling everybody, please don't give up on that variety if you had a bad experience with it. It is something that we need. We need an April planted peanut. We need something that's not 170 days also. So we need a complement variety, and that's what we got with that variety. Now, you got some of the rest of these that, you heard about the Tifton VHG and 22 MPR. If, in those situations, they're quite a little bit better than 06, so you can plant those. But again, this is a heck of a list of varieties. From my standpoint, from a grower standpoint, I don't want you to have to pick from 13 varieties. I need 5. We know 06 is not going away for at least another 3-4 years. We need 5 more to compare. So what do we need to do, unfortunately? We got to weed some of these out. And I don't know how to best do that. And I'm not saying that the breeders need to do that. I'm just saying from our perspective, how do we come together as a group and say, okay, these are the ones that we definitely need to move forward? And that's something that we got to do as a group. Can't be me by myself. It has to be done as a group. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But a lot of the new ones, again, we're talking about nematode resistance. Boy, they look good. Some of them really do. But we also have found some problems. And so with these, like 20s, shedding problem, I don't like that. 21s has been a little inconsistent. And then 22, we had some shedding problems with it. We got to figure out some of this, why is it happening? And that's something I don't have good answers for right this second because they're too new. So we're working on it. Just know that we're working on it. So right this minute, if you're wanting some planting recommendations, if I'm April planting, it's going to be a 12Y or Arnie. And if I can't get those, then I might step out and do a 22 MPR. Know that it's a later season too, maturing one. But Tifton V is definitely one I'd look at. And unfortunately, Tifton VHG is a nematode resistant variety. I don't care. It is a high yielding, high grade, and seems to be, if you're talking about trying to compare back to 06, it's the stablest variety we got so far. Now, we got stuff coming, but I'm talking about right this minute commercially, it is as close to 06 as we can get. So that's just from my perspective. Can I be wrong? Every day. Every day I can take you to a field I'm wrong. May plant and all the other varieties up there are great varieties. We've got some, Flow Run 52N, some of these other ones, 16HO, May planted peanuts are great. I like them, they yield good. We got to watch some things late though. I don't know why. I like the 18RU when it first come out. Very much high yielding, very much high grade, but it has some problems. You can't plant it early and you can't plant it late. Leaf spot to get it late, tomato spot will to get it early. So you got to plant it in mid-May. If you can do that, go for it. Watch planting 16HO and 09B late. Why? Because they can get leaf spot. Not like 13M back a few years ago, but we're talking about late season, a lot of pressure. Those are not the ones I want to plant late. June, please, when we're going into June, know that we're going to increase disease pressure. We're also going to take about a 15% loss in yield. That's because of why? We lose heat units. And when we do that, you either lose 15% at 145 to 50 days or you carry them to 180. And we don't have many varieties that you can go that far with. So just know that as well. So we're doing our job to try to do as much as, we did close to 12 on-farm trials with a lot of these varieties. I think the top 8. But we had almost 18 different variety trials in the state. And I'm talking about OVTs, some of the breeder stuff that we were working with, tubs, myself, small plot, that kind of thing. So we're throwing the kitchen sink at some of this to get you the best information we can. So just keep that in mind. High quality seed, again, just know that if you get, even if it's a 95% germ seed at the beginning of the season, if that stuff doesn't get planted until June, guess what? We're going to lose some of that germ. It's alive. We need to get the early stuff shelled, treated, and planted as quick as possible. And then as we're shelling on through the season, we need to make sure that stuff is planted as it's needed. Handling this stuff, again, man, when I come through, I don't know, where is McNair? There he is. I thought Mighty Lester McNair would raise all sand with me, throw in peanut bags. Good gosh, he would he'd throw anything he could at me because he needed, treat those things like baby. Don't throw them. So anytime we handle this stuff more than once, we're causing problems. You're just causing more and more problems. So try to be gentle with them. We have now gone to about 62%, probably 65% reduced tillage in this state. That's a big change just in a couple of years. It's money. I understand that. If your reduced tillage would cover and you need to plant early, guess what? You're already starting yourself off kind of on the wrong side. You need to get in it early, kill it, but I would rather you go in and run a ripper early and clean up about 12 inches, fluff it up to let it heat up for a while before we go in there and plant in April. If it's cool and wet, we're going to cause rotting, we're going to cause some problems. So just know that's one of the things, saving money doesn't always pay in those situations. Planting faster is not better. We've said that many, many times. Scott done a lot of work with that. Over 5 miles an hour, you're wasting effort. So just know that we don't have good enough planters to do that. Planting more seed does not always cause better stands. Single versus twin is a little different. Twins, we got a lot of room for moving seeding rates. Singles, we do not. No, try not to go over 7 seed per foot. If you do, just know that you're probably going to have some seed rot, especially in bad conditions. We had a lot of people went from a large edible bean plate in a John Deere planter to the Virginia plate. And what are we doing? Dropping 2 seed every time almost. So just watch some of that. Again, things that can happen. Tomato spider wilt, again, real quick. The last several years, the bottom line is last year, purple. It's still up in April. We do not want to see tomato spider wilt like we did in 22 and 23. That was horrendous. The problem is I can't predict that. And I don't think anybody in this state can predict that. So we got to prepare for the worst. That's what I would like to plant somewhere between, that late May 10th to May 25th or so. That'd be my best window there. But we can't I showed you that earlier. There's no way we can plant these kind of acres in that amount of time. No way. If not, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Or if we do, you can get them planted, but can you get them harvested? That's the other problem. So watch that. Please do. Real quick, some of those things that you can read. Make good decisions. Right conditions in the bag to the furrow. Let's treat this stuff good. Got to get our temperatures right, 68 degrees for three days, and make sure we get good soil to seed contact. Thimet, please don't go away from thimet. I know a lot of people would like to, but let's not, if you can help it. Planting in cooler temps and tillage, I talked about that. 3 to 5 miles an hour on planting speeds. Activate your Valor as quick as you can on irrigated. Dry land, we're at the mercy of the Lord. And hey, peanuts can come back if it gets burned, but it's just going to look rough. Revisit the fields you plant within 7 days. We get busy. Go back and make sure. We've had irrigated fields that had moisture at planting, but we were hot, run out of moisture before they come up. And so pivot sitting there and cause problems. So just go back and look. Watch adding too much stuff in fertilizers. That's a negative. Other stuff, let's not do it. And don't forget, we're all here. We're just a phone call away. Call your agents. Work them through and get us if you need it. And with that, I'll take any questions, comments. Thank you.